So it's official. It's a brand new year, 2018, which also means that another Christmas has come and gone. But, you know, there's always a silver lining. Something positive to think about is that we're standing on the edge of a brand new year that's gonna be filled with opportunities, possibilities. You know there's gonna be tons of those. For most of us, this means that we'll be having to scrape ice and snow off of our vehicles every single morning for months. That's fun. The Weather Channel is telling us fun things like if we spend more than 10 minutes outside because of the wind chill, we may die. So there's that. The thing I'm most excited about is that this is the time of year that many of our favorite candle companies decide to give us a sneak peek, a preview of several fragrances that they have on their lineup for the new year. And Yankee Candle on December 26th, just a few days ago, released 5 candles, their spring preview. They come in these little tumblers. They're calling them special edition tumblers. 9.5 ounces, a soy wax blend, 40 to 50 hour burn time on these. 5. However, I have 10 candles, 10 fragrances by Yankee Candle that are scheduled for the 2018 first quarter that I want to share with you today. So that means this is going to be the longest candle evaluation session that I've ever had on this channel. So we really don't want to waste any more time. This also means that I will be separating this video into several segments. Keep that in mind. Also, one more important thing. I'm going to be smelling these candles cold, right? Just like that. Right out of the jar. So no burning, no melting, no volatilization of fragrance oils of any kind. So also keep that in mind. I think we're all set. Let's start with the 5 fragrances that have already been released, and then we'll talk about the others after that. First candle, candle number 1. Are you ready? Let's do it. Early Spring Bloom. On the label, we see several soft white flowers with this golden yellow center, and that golden yellow color is also highlighting the title of the fragrance on the bottom. And the UK or European label looks a little something like that. It's the same photo. It's of course going to be cropped a little bit differently and has a different aspect ratio. But the reason why I'm pointing this out is that if you take a look at the special edition tumbler, you'll notice that they used a different color template. Interesting. Keep that in mind because we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But the main question is, what does this candle smell like? Well, only one way to find out. So nothing aggressive here. A very elegant floral profile. It's this beautifully balanced and contrast of florals and confectionery sweetness. So imagine if you took a bowl of whipped cream and a bucket of sudsy lotion-based soap, and you threw that into Cuisinart and you frothed that all together. The concoction that you would make would smell something like this, a very well-balanced floral meets sweet confectionery goodness. Some fruity notes here. I could go in a couple different directions, but mainly what's happening is lemon, that clean lemon aroma that lifts this up off the ground. It seems like every Yankee Candle has citrus in some form. I even want to say lemon verbena as well. And as far as the florals, this is classic florist shop. You know, you walk in, you have the carnations, the baby's breath, all those white flowers, but also things like jasmine and apple blossom. Now that's a big one because there's a little bit of this sugared apple, Yankee Candle's sugared apple thing happening here if you like that candle. And I'm gonna throw in lilac as well. But nothing aggressive, you know, nothing pungent, no, I don't smell pollen. I smell just that soft floral touch, which is important. There's some muskiness here, white floral musk. You know, I know this is subjective, but not masculine. You know, this is what I would call a feminine musk. Very pretty. Think more of that Dove soap, the lotion-based soap muskiness. Not powdery, not talcum powder, baby powder, and rosewood. That's not one I get to pull out very often. So I like to point that out in this situation here. And Tonka Bean. Tonka Bean is, you know, it's going to enhance that vanilla, but it also introduces some fruitiness, which kind of plays with some of the other fruit notes that I mentioned before. So when I close my eyes and I smell this candle, what I see is a bright white bathroom, fluffy white towels, clean towels, soaps and lotions, white florals and vases. What I'm getting at is this is a beautiful bathroom or spa candle, very clean. And what's good about that is because this is on the mild side of intense, it would be great for a smaller space instead of a very large living space. Now, something I normally don't do, and I actually don't recommend that you do as well until you've smelled the candles, is read Yankee Candle's descriptions. But a lot of you have been requesting that I share Yankee Candle's notes, so why not? It only takes a second. Yankee Candle describes early spring bloom, a scent as fresh as a hillside of just opened poppies. And this is a part of the reason why I wanted to share that, because to my knowledge, poppies don't have a distinguishable aroma. You know, of course they smell, but they really don't have any characteristics. So this is more of a fantasy idea of smelling the poppies. In fact, if you read the fragrance notes, it says soft lily, cherry blossom, mid notes of poppy fields. So again, it's setting that romantic stage, not a literal interpretation of the aromas. Now that cherry blossom, I think that's a great descriptor to have in the fragrance notes. And remember that magenta pink center of the flower that was on the special edition candle? They implant that color in your brain. Immediately we start thinking of red fruit, berries, cherries, things of that nature. As base notes, we have white musk, sandalwood, and tonka. Early Spring Bloom by Yankee Candle. Candle number 2, a calm, quiet place. A very interesting label. Why? Because although this is technically a spring candle, we see a little bit of snow outside that window. Unless someone wants to make an argument that that's white sand, I think that's what we have, is snow that looks like it could be on the coast. On the European label, you really see a lot of the detail. And I also have the US label right here. And this is the one I'm going to be using for the evaluation. Soy wax is a little bit more fragrant on cold sniff. A lot of people, let me just say from the beginning, a lot of people are going to love this one. Both men and women, this is going to be a popular, one of the favorites of the collection of 5. A little bit more aggressive on those florals than the last candle. This is taking that direction of fabric softener, laundry room, which is appropriate, right? Because what we see on the label is that Angora blanket, that faux fur blanket with the pillows. You get that very clean, laundered linen. And for the florals, lavender. I mean, lavender is used 99.9% of the time in all of the different fabric softeners, laundry detergents that we'll ever see. And this is no exception. It's a very soft, clean smell. We all know lavender. But to give it a little bit more of a punch, a little bit more power, I'm going to say peony and garden rose. That's what's going to separate this candle right off the bat from the last. The garden rose, the peony are going to give this a little bit more of that pungent, aggressive floral note. And that's not a bad thing at all, but just a bigger floral presence. And there's this sweet sarsaparilla licorice root beer thing happening. And there's some brightness provided by citrus, once again, this time bergamot, and also clary sage. Clary sage has this perceived tartness, sourness on the nose. And there are many other herbaceous notes as well. Think clover, think aloe, think of just those green grassy notes. Think about when you're going down the aisle, the soap aisle in the grocery store, and you see hand soap, bar soap, that has mountain or alpine in the title. A lot of those herbaceous green notes that you find on those bar soaps are going to be found in here. And that's adding to the clean factor of this fragrance, but also giving it a bath and body profile as well. So now we really have to start digging deeper. Blow off those top notes, those mid notes. Try to look into the core of this candle because there's a lot of foundation here. Cedar and vanilla, always a great contrast. And patchouli. Patchouli, if you're not a fan, don't be turned off by this. Patchouli is used probably a lot more than most people think it is in candles, in perfumes, and colognes. And speaking of that patchouli here gives this more of that earthy feel, but also puts this in the direction more of a men's cologne. And speaking of men's cologne, a dry, leathery musk. Right? This isn't that floral musk that we were talking about before. And one more that I want to throw in there is labdanum. Labdanum. Where am I coming up with these words? But in all sincerity, this is something that is used all of the time in soaps. Labdanum is just this resinous juice that comes from the rock rose shrub family. But what it does is it gives you that warmer, richer, thicker, clean, soapy aroma. So really, for me, this candle is kind of spot on in regards to the name, at least for me. A calm, quiet place. This is a spa-like candle. It does take the direction of modern-day men's cologne. It's that floral, citrus, musky trio punch. Nothing like traditional old-school men's cologne like gray flannel. This is more of a modern-day profile. And because of the deeper, warmer notes in this, I think this would make a great candle for a day when you're snowed in, or just a rainy day. But it's going to enhance that experience of having that clean cotton blanket wrapped around you, sitting on the leather sofa, perhaps sitting by the fire, you're reading a book, a hot cup or mug of tea in your hand. I'll take coffee, but either way, it's going to add a little extra warmth to your day, aromatically speaking. A calm and quiet place. Now, I don't have Yankee's fragrance notes on this candle, but I do have their description, and it goes like this. A meditative fragrance, balanced, centered with gentle jasmine, a whisper of patchouli, and warm amber musk. I couldn't really agree anymore. Let's move on to candle number 3. I cannot wait to talk about this candle. This has to be one of the most bizarre, peculiar concepts I've ever seen Yankee Candle release. Visually, looks perfectly normal. On the label, we have these beautiful, multicolored, iridescent, soapy bubbles with some lens flares there. The wax is this nice lilac or dark periwinkle color. But the name that they went with was Sweet Nothings. As in meaningless, affectionate words whispered between two lovers. Bubbles. Conceptually, I'm lost. I would have loved to have been at the board meeting at Yankee Candle when they finalized this concept. I love you, Yankee Candle. I love bizarre. I love peculiar. I'm a little lost at the moment, but I think that means maybe we should smell it and see what happens here. This is in the special edition tumbler. So if by chance you thought the last two candles were powdery, sink your nose into this. This is baby powder all of the way. And what's great about that is that powderiness plays off the fruity, tart candy notes that are in this candy and totally gives this a candle a pixie sticks effect. I'm serious. Soft, mild, floral petals, and I don't mean low intensity, just nothing powerfully pungent or pollen-esque. This is not like a warm climate tropical flower. You could easily say cotton candy here. You could say warm taffy. It's tempting because of the color, but I'm gonna go with Smarties candies, you know, the roll of Smarties. Imagine you take some of those and you take a rolling pin, you crush them up into a fine powder, and you just kind of waft that aroma in your face. So not an overwhelming candy aroma, but definitely distinct. And that candy going up against that powdery floral, really nice complement. Now I could just say vanilla bean here and call it a day, but think of, let's stay in the candy realm. Vanilla Tootsie Rolls, an extreme vanilla, pure vanilla extract bombacity here that's really serves as the bowl, the basket, the vessel that all of the other aromas we spoke about are going to be sitting in. So floral, sweet, candy, fruity-esque, vanilla base, rather simplistic candle, but simplicity is not a bad thing. There's some nice contrasting aromas here. I think a lot of people would really like this. However, if you are not a baby powder, talcum powder, powdery candle kind of person, it's probably something that you're not going to enjoy. But if you're down with the baby powder, then definitely check it out. Now, with the look and the name, I can't help but think that this would be best utilized in a house where there's a newborn baby or at least children around. It has that playful, youthful look, the color, the label, but also the smell. You know, it has the baby powder and the clean linen, that bathroom environment. So maybe a good alternate name could be Baby Talk for this candle. That's pretty interesting, right? But more likely, I think Yankee is going for the concept, setting the stage for an intimate bubble bath. You know, lights dim, candle lit, maybe you have a glass of white wine. And if you do that, let me recommend an Argentinian Torrontés. It has notes of nectarine and orange blossom. It would pair beautifully with a candle like this. So maybe you can do that. Burn this candle, glass of wine, whisper sweet nothings into your lover's ears, and enjoy this candle by Yankee Candle, Sweet Nothings. And with Yankee Candle's description of this candle, warm, soft, sweet, like a special whisper just for you, I think that confirms the concept they're going for. The fragrance notes of this candle, Cyclamen. Cyclamen is a perennial flowering plant. Lotus blossoms, vanilla, powdery musk, and amber. Very interesting, very fun. Let's move on to candle number 4. All right, so this one I picked up at Candle Power NYC, the pop-up storefront hosted by Yankee Candle in New York City. And I almost fell in love with this candle before I even smelled it. Look at this label.